Good morning. I'm Montgomery County Sheriff Dave Vore, and I'm welcoming the Germantown Police Department and Miami Valley Cable Council to the Montgomery County Jail. This facility was built starting in 1991 and completed in 1993. We house 672 inmates with a maximum capacity of 732. We invite you to take a tour of our jail and look at the various functions that are involved when an inmate comes into the back Sallyport door, all the way through receiving, the book-in area here, and then all the way through dress out and into the classification up into the pods. We hope that this is informative to you, and we welcome you here and thank you for coming and seeing us.
Lieutenant Branch, can you tell the viewers how a person, when they're brought to the Montgomery County Jail, what kind of process they go through?
A person's first contact with the criminal justice system is when they're arrested with the Montgomery County Jail. They're incarcerated. The arresting officer brings the person down to our jail and they enter our Sallyport. It's one of the most critical functions in that that's our first contact, and we have to ensure that all contraband, such as any weapons, knives, any drugs, are taken off at that time. What happens is the officer will drive through our Sallyport. They will park their vehicle. The officer then gets out of that vehicle and secures their weapon and ammunition. That's to alleviate any possibility of that weapon being taken away from them while they're here at the jail. Once that weapon is secure, they will then get their inmate and bring them into our pre-shakedown room. And that shakedown room is used by the arresting officer to double check to make sure that there are no weapons, contraband, any properties taken off for the safety and security of the officer, staff here at the jail, and the inmate themselves. Once that's done, paperwork, the arresting paperwork or warrant is then placed through our admissions window. At that point, our staff then reviews that paperwork to make sure that it contains all the information that is required to legally hold that person in our facility. Once that is done, the paperwork is then given back to the arresting officer to put through to our shakedown room. Now that's the actual first contact that the arrested citizen will have with our staff. At that point, again, it's a critical point, they are shook down again. And what that does is to verify that all property has been removed, there are no weapons, and are no contraband. Oftentimes we will find weapons and or contraband that has been either placed in a shoe or hidden where the arresting officer may not have found it. But at that point it is removed, and if it's a weapon, it will be given back to that officer for additional charges to be filed. It's at that point, once we're satisfied that all property has been removed from that inmate, they will then enter the process for to begin the booking process.
Once a person is brought into the booking area, what is done?
They actually are just waiting. Depending on the situation of the inmate, they will either be in a cell or sitting out waiting for their name to be called. Once their name is called, depending on their charges, they will be booked into our facility. That encompasses just taking all the information off the arrest custody and or the warrant, placing that into our system. At that point, they will be told what their bond is, if they have any at all. Once they have a bond, they will be afforded the opportunity to make phone calls to a number of people to try to get that bond so they can be released. At that point, depending on the charge, they will be printed and photographed to enter our system. And that's basically what happens in the booking process.
After the person is fingerprinted and photographed, what happens next?
Next, we start a process of classification of that inmate. And that's an important function in that if that inmate is going to stay in our facility for any period of time, we need to know about that inmate, what type of charge they have, what type of previous charge that they have. We try to avoid housing individuals with serious charges with those who are here just on a traffic violation. And that's important for the safety of the inmate and the staff itself. Once that classification is complete, we can then determine what housing location they will go to. At that point, before they go upstairs, they are then given a shower, given an opportunity to shower, and given jail clothing, and they will have the opportunity to see the medic if there's any medical problems.
We're past the classification stage now. Can you kind of tell the viewers where we're at now?
Yes, we're in the old jail, where what is typically thought of as a jail when citizens think of a jail, where you have your bars and your clanging keys. This jail was built in 1965, this portion of the jail, and it typically holds our more serious type offenders. The new jail was built in 1993 as a result of this jail being overcrowded. As I said, this jail was rated to hold 361 prisoners, and as of 1989 we had exceeded that capacity, which necessitated the building of the new jail. So right now this old jail holds those prisoners that are deemed not to be suited for the pod.
We just saw the old side of the jail. Is this one of the pods that you mentioned?
Yes, it is one of the 4 pods, and we implement direct supervision in these pods. It is rated to hold 96 inmates at this time.
What kind of people are housed here in the pods?
Typically what you'll see in our pod setting are nonviolent offenders. One thing we have to remember that people who are in our jail are pretrial detainees, and by saying that I mean that they're here being held waiting for trial. So they haven't been convicted of anything yet. So as you look around and you see a rather nice setting for them to stay at, these people aren't convicted. So we afford them the opportunities as if they have not been convicted. They have the opportunity to use the phone, they have used the TV, and we also, many of the functions that are performed around the jail on a daily basis are performed by inmates. Our kitchen, our cleaning, and our laundry. So these inmates here are afforded a little bit of opportunity to move about.
Okay. As I kind of look around, I saw like the basketball court and a
Yes.
ping pong table, so they're able to get some exercise while they are in here.
Exactly, and we also find that those inmates who have been able to use their time more productive are less trouble for us, and it causes better attitudes. So it makes their time go faster, and it makes our time easier to manage. This is the jail laundry facility, and as you see, it's a very busy place, and it's a 24-hour facility. We have a lot of clothes that need to be cleaned, and all the inmate clothing, outer clothing, is washed here. And all the services that are provided are done by inmate workers, volunteer inmate workers. No inmate is required to work. This allows them, as I had mentioned earlier, to use their time constructively as they're waiting their turn in court.
We just saw a laundry facility. Can you tell us a little bit about the kitchen area?
Yes, the kitchen is staffed by inmate workers, volunteer inmate workers, and managed by ARA Mark. The kitchen provides approximately 2,300 meals per day for our inmates. That's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as our staff.
Now we're in the communications section. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about what goes on in here?
Sure. We call this our security control area, and every door that a person would enter or exit from is controlled in this area here. This officer has a multitude of tasks, not only monitoring the cameras, but the alarms that may go off if there's a panic alarm hit in the cell, or if an officer needs assistance. They also act as our dispatch center for the jail. So it's a very important function. They are able to communicate with our road officers and all of our corrections officers. So as you can tell, he maintains a busy schedule during the day, and he has a lot to do.
Lieutenant Branch, can you tell us the area that we're in now?
Yes, we're at the release counter. It's at the release counter that the inmates will then be released from our custody. It's their end to their stay at the Montgomery County Jail. We get releases in a number of ways. They can come from the judge who will order a release. It can come from them posting a bond. A detective may decide to release an inmate on their own recognizance. But in any case, the process starts right here, and once that is completed, they are released from our custody.
Mr. Lane, what kind of programs do you offer the inmates here at the Montgomery County Jail?
The Sheriff's Office provides a lot of different programming for those that are incarcerated here in the jail. Number one, we provide all the spiritual counseling, provide church service, worship services that are provided from a lot of different churches from around the county, around the area. We have about 150 volunteers that come in and work in various areas. The Programs Office also takes care of AA and NA, which is Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous. We have an anger management program. domestic violence program that are offered by Wright State University. We teach life skills. We also have a part-time literacy coordinator that leads a group of about 40 tutors